Okay, everybody.
Oh,
look at the large size. Yes. Can I get a round of applause, please? Yay.
No.
All right. I'm going to pull up my terminal. We can send. Are you all able to log into the website now with your email addresses as your username? Deborah says yes.
Most of them can, but they have problems with access to courses, some particular courses.
Okay. Yeah. Some of it is not really under, I mean, I can twiddle with it, but it's, I think it's a communication problem because now the membership plugin is using it, is turning that on. It's a little different. Like, for example, the daily data is an open course. And so everybody can join it, but they themselves have to enroll. So they have to go to it and then click the right button that says start, and then it will revive. So I think it might be a communication, not a technology problem. All right. Excellent. Let's get started. Dropbox.
Do you have the data set you're looking at?
I have also data set and
Okay.
okay, let's get started. Feel free to please type in your questions at any time. Quick thumbs up, please, if you see the screen. Yes, awesome. All right, so let's get started with a new Jupyter notebook. All right, and as usual, I'll get started. So we will, this week, Frederick, do you want to foreshadow this week's descriptive statistics?
We're talking about this week about descriptive statistics, so the kind of statistical analysis which summarizes the data, tried in a couple of interesting characteristics. And today we will start with different kinds of data. So there are numerical data with.
Yeah, but I was kicked out.
Was there a question?
Okay, yeah, no.
Sorry, Mara, we can hear you.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, yeah.
So most of the time we will be looking at numerical data, so data that can be expressed as numbers. But there are also other important data sources, kinds of data, which are categorical and ordinal data. So today we will have a look at these different, a bit less rich, but also important sources of data, or kinds of data, and see what we can do with them. So
yeah, I think I need to put my data in this folder.
yeah, exactly.
Okay, yes, great. So let's see.
For that we will be looking at a data set which is called UK Gender Pay Gap Data, 2017 to 2018.
So I have a file that is called gap data. You can
Pay gap.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. When we got this from the UK government's website, statistics website, it's very nice actually. I think they are leading. I don't know how many of you know about this data set. If you know, thumbs up. Maybe Mara has heard. I think they are leading in the world because they require, the government in 2017 started to require companies with more than 250 employees,
Yeah, exactly,
to report on their salary data based on gender. So it actually created a lot of, I mean, it's not a simple topic, but it's the first governmental action I know of in the world that is truly taking, you know, the women's discrimination and pay gap into account. So let's see if
I just may. If you want to have a look at exploring these kind of data sets themselves, here's the website that you can visit. Gender.
You can put this in the notes when I push it up.
Okay. Okay, let's do this.
Let's do
We'll
that.
do it for now.
Yeah.
But there's a website if you're interested and want to play with this data set yourself. We can tell you where to get it from.
Yeah, and especially when I push it up, I'll give you the CSV. I'll give you the CSV file as well, so that you can just have the raw data. Okay, awesome. So now that we have that as the file name, let's dive in and read it into a data frame.
We again read it into a data frame in pandas, which is a one-liner.
Okay. I wish when I open a new box that it would put the cursor in, but it doesn't. So data frame will equal pandas
Read CSV.
read CSV, and we'll read the file name.
File name. Okay.
So far, so good. You always do this. This is the same line all the time, right?
It's a bit of a, this is currently also a bit of a review of last week.
Now,
And now we can look at the first couple of lines to see what is in this data set. So we have the employer name, we have the address,
bless you. We have their
company number, SIC codes.
We'll talk about that quite
So
a
we'll
lot.
talk about the first about these first columns a bit later. But then if we go a bit further,
Yeah. Okay, wonderful. I'm just reading your messages. SIC codes, this is the data set, by the way, that I pushed up. How many of you tried the datathon? How many of you went into GitHub and got the datathon link for yourselves? Thumbs up. If you did, this was, no, okay. This was the intermediate data set that I gave you. So I gave you the beginner data set in the GitHub one, which was the 1 million Memento Tech growth numbers for the summer of code. This was the intermediate one. And so this week we're using this as a little bit of a demo, and you can take this further if you're deciding to do this as your datathon. Okay. Let's describe it and see what's in it. Okay. So we get a little bit of meta statistics here, right?
yeah, so in this case, we're getting descriptions for all the columns which contain numerical data so that we can meaningfully compute something like the mean, the standard deviation, minimum, and so on. So we have something like the mean the difference in the mean wages, in the hourly mean wages in percent. So between male and female, so 13% positive numbers means that male employees earn more.
Hi, Kat. We
Hello.
can hear you. I'm going to just mute you quickly.
Yeah. So in most cases, there will be higher wages for male employees. So this is a positive number. There are some cases when there's when female employees earn more, which would be a negative percentage, which is negative number here. And we already see that there are some numbers that look a bit suspicious, like differences of minus 82,000%. If you wanted to do some data cleaning, we would probably look at these very extreme values and see if they should be removed. This is something we discussed last week. We will today not talk about this in detail.
Maybe we can just talk about this minus 400%. It's a little bit of a interesting part. So what does, so from a descriptive person, this is like your first glance at the data, right? And you're like, oh my God, like what we had a discussion about what is going on here. How is it possible that for one company here, the difference of the mean hourly wages in percentage is minus 400 or median minus 196? That would mean.
So actually, we would have to look up the description. There's a PDF document which describes how these numbers are actually calculated. And in this case, they do it by using, for instance, in this case, the mean hourly wages for male employees and for female employees, and they divide it by the mean for the male employees and multiply by 100 to get a percentage. So this means something like -400 can actually happen for very small companies. Yeah, this is where the document is, where actually everything is described in detail, the methodology behind this. So we could actually have a case where the average male employee earns $100 per hour, and the average female employee earns $500 per hour, and then we would get 100 minus 500 divided by 100. This is -4 times 100 in percent is -400%. So because it is normalized by the male employees, something like -400% is possible. It's not very likely, but it's possible. However, you cannot really get something over 100% because if you had the case where the women earn nothing and the men earn $100, then it would be a wage gap of 100%, and 200% would mean that, or over 100% would mean that the women actually pay to.
The women would have to
work.
pay to work
so
here.
I think even in the UK, there is gender inequality, but I think it's not that bad. It's not. So I think that these numbers maybe some of these numbers maybe just have been computed wrongly. Since they are computed by the companies themselves, it's possible that they did something wrong when they did it, when they reported it.
If we have time at the end, I can talk a little bit about this because Dame Inga, who is the CEO of Lloyd's Insurance in the UK, actually came to Oxford University when I was there, and she talked about this data set very briefly when I actually raised the women's issue, and she said something very curious about how the big firms are actually falsely reporting, and she called it out. She called out a few business leaders on that. Okay, but let's move on because we have to talk about, we don't have to, but it would be good to talk about these SIG codes because this is a great example of categorical data.
Yes. So SIG is an acronym for Standard Industry Classification. This means this is numeric code, a 4 or 5 digit code, which maps each industry to a code. Each industry to a particular code. You have to be careful, by the way, if you're international. There's a UK version of that and a US version of that.
How many of you, if you have used the SIG codes before, can you type in SIG, S-I-C? Like for your work or in any other situation? Or if you know you know your own company's industry, exactly. Yeah.
Okay, it seems so. Many of you already know that. Just keep in mind, these are country specific and they may also be time specific. So sometimes these definitions get changed over time. So you have to be careful that you get the right country and the right
edition, I guess,
version of that. So in this case,
we're using the UK version 2007.
So if in doubt, look up again the description of the data set, like in the PDF where we sent the link, which would give this information.
Okay, let's use this then. So.
And we now show that in Pandas it's even possible to just download data from the internet. So hopefully this link will still be active. It was when we tested it.
Yes. You know, we should really put some little mistakes in the notes so that they can have to go through and find them and put a little reward if you find it.
Yes. Okay. We can do this as a bonus.
Okay.
Or whenever we make a mistake, is actually to test you, right?
Exactly. So you do have to know actually what's in it. I'm just going to write out because we looked at it, but the way you would do is you would find it online, see what kind of headers, what your columns are in the data, and then that's what you type out. But I'm just going to read this in for now because we know it resides at the following URL, which we gave earlier. The separators are commas. And then we header none.
This means the first row already contains a data point and not a description of what the different columns mean.
So we just give it.
So we have to tell it. So we have to give the semantics what these columns means ourselves. So division code and description.
Okay. And let's do that. It's thinking. Oh, what does it not like? Parse of an expected keyword argument name.
Names, I think it's names, not name.
Oh.
So
Is this the time when we move over? Let's see. Did I type this one correctly? Interesting, because on that computer it worked, right?
Maybe this is no longer active. Oh, okay.
Oh, it's there.
Let's try
Let's
it.
try
I think
it.
it seems to be an HTTP issue from what I saw. So we just downloaded it manually.
Mm-hmm. It's coming.
Okay,
So
this
it
is the
has-
file name. And I think you can now give it the file name instead of the URL. That should also work.
Hmm. And I on those requests. Maybe I need to import some HTTP library.
Cannot send header. Yeah, you got a bad response. I don't know. Maybe it's because you're on a different. Oh, it was an SSL certificate verified failed.
Should I use the HTTPS version? No. Okay. Well, the
Yeah,
URL
I think
won't work.
I think it's an authentication issue, but
Interesting.
different browser. That's probably the reason.
Well, let's call file name too, right?
If it is in the same, if you saved it in the same folder and now give it a file name, this should work.
Okay.
Yeah, this
complaining?
worked.
Okay, great.
And now you can,
Still troubleshooting right now.
and now you can maybe write 6 divisions and so on, just so that we see what's inside.
Let's see what we put in there and see if it works. So we hope to see the same thing as we saw on the CSV file. Okay, that's pretty good.
Okay, so here, so the SIG codes can get extremely specific. So there's one for harvesting of tree nuts and stuff like that. So here, to get a good aggregate description, we just look at the high level. So at the first 1 to 2 digits, depending on whether it's a 4 or a 5-digit SIG code. And this is the main industry.
Daniela says, how about wget?
That might work. So you can run new processes from within, and shell commands from within Python. So there are different libraries also to do to send HTTP requests and so on, which Pandas uses under the hood. So since this focus of this class is not on web programming, I think we will. You can type this later, exactly.
Please do. And if you would like to send pull request, I will accept.
Yes.
Awesome.
Maybe we will have another class in the summer of code or so on web programming or so in Python, but for now we focus on the data analysis part.
Good question. Good feedback, Daniela. Amazing.
Okay, and now we look at what kind of, in which format these SIG codes are in our
and you see a little
data set, and we see something interesting. We see that there may be multiple. So first we have it in generally a 5-digit format.
Mm-hmm.
And also
we have sometimes more than one.
5 to 4, so we have something for sometimes 4-digit ones like 1470.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also some other cases. So we have
like
this
single digit.
a single digit, which is not actually valid. So this means it was wrong. Again, these are provided by the company themselves. So the responsible person mistyped.
It's interesting that they didn't validate, that there's no data validation from their end, but that's the reality, isn't it?
That is the reality. So I think you should always do your own validation, or at least a sanity check to make sure everything looks reasonable.
Okay.
Also, we can see sometimes missing values. NaN in Pandas means their value wasn't provided, so there they just didn't give it.
Mm-hmm.
And so then we get these funny looking things which say
\r \n for which one?
\r\n, yes. And if you do something like print, let's say df sig codes, let's say 10505.
Okay.
Print df sig codes as a string.
Which one did they want? 10?
Well, any of them that has this rn 10505 or 10528.
Let's do 5. Oh, in Chinese, it's locked in here.
Okay, let's do the Chinese one. So then we see, oh, it's actually a line break, this rn. So these are special ASCII characters which don't correspond to a digit or a letter and so on, but rather have a print, sort of like a printing description. R is for carriage return. So in an old typewriter, you had a key that you could press so that you would start again at the beginning of the line, and N stands for new lines. So on Microsoft Windows, this is how line breaks are represented by these two ASCII characters, carriage return and new line. So we already see we have strings here rather than integers.
Yeah.
And we see we can have more than one. And so we can maybe try a little append this one-liner to see how many different SIG codes we can have for a single company.
Okay. While I do this, let's talk about what's happening. So we're taking the data frame, and then for each line.
So since we have missing values, we fill them in with an empty string. So whenever there's something like NAM, we put in an empty string. Currently, they're all represented as strings or sequences of characters.
And now comes.
And then we apply a little transformation function, which in Python is called lambda. I'm not sure. Did you discuss this in the summer of code? But
no, we did. I guess we did loops, but I didn't do expressions.
Yeah, so this is basically like a Python, but you discussed functions.
We did discuss functions, yes.
So this is basically like a function def x, def some function of x, and then return what's coming after the colon now, just expressed as a single line. It's called an anonymous function, so we don't give it a name, we just express it in a single line, but it basically says take x and return something else, some function of x.
I'm going to do it first without the string, and then we'll add the string. Or shall we stringify?
We may stringify it. I think sometimes it may be interpreted as an integer, and then it will not work. Let's try.
And we want the length.
Try without the string first if it works. Let's see.
Okay, so what we want is for each element, we want to know how many SIG codes it's got. So we're going to check the length of it. We'll take the element x, we'll split it by if it has a...
So by the separator between the different SIG codes. So we see, so here in this example here, we see 22290, then this separator, these three characters, and then this one. And we basically want to transform this into a list, which has as its first element here, and this one, and its second element this one. And then we want to give the length of this list.
Excellent. So return this if x exists.
If x is not the empty string, because the empty string would be split into a list which contains a single element.
But we don't want one.
But we don't want to count that. So in this case, if it's the empty string, we say there's none SIG code provided.
And so the question is whether this will be interpreted as a string or we have to add the string.
Shall we try it?
Let's try.
We get an error? No, it worked.
No error? Okay.
That worked. I think because we did this fill nan, this is already has been cast a string. And now we can have a look here.
Yeah, okay, awesome.
So we see we get 10,532
By the way, can I just say this? So
Mhm.
this is definitely not beginner's stuff. If if you just fell into this, you're watching, please don't worry about it. This is a little Python magic. It's not a lot of magic, it's a function. But what you can do is just try to understand, get the intuition, and reuse it. Okay. And if you're intermediate, then yes, I think understanding these anonymous functions would be a very good exercise. Yes.
But there's an alternative. If this is more familiar to you, can I
Yes.
just try
Yes, please.
something? So you could also have written like
Of course.
def number of codes x, and then list equals x split color rn. If x return len
Line.
l, else return 0.
And then you do a loop.
And then you do, and then you apply this.
Yes.
Can you do back undo, please?
I thought I could, but
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and then if we awesome, and then if we do number of codes, so if we basically says take this column and then apply this function to it, to each element, and this should give us the exactly same result. This is just a bit more concise.
any questions, or if this number of codes function is clearer, can I get a thumbs up, please, on the chat? Let's see. Yes, awesome. Cool.
Awesome. Okay.
Deborah, Mara, Daniela. I mean, this is great.
Fantastic.
Right. So there's some interesting things. The mean number is 1.4. So the average company has 1.46 codes. It's like the average family has 1.4 kids.
Mm-hmm. Which we will talk later this week about the difference of the mean and the median. Many of you will already know this. For the others, it will be new. But so we see the numbers can range from 0 to 7. The number of different zip codes from 0 to 7. And 50% of them have one or are fewer. So the median is 1. Most companies have only a single one. 75% have 2 or less. That's what the 75% row means. And the maximum we can have is 7.
Okay, here I would like to give the first little homework or exercise, which is that please tell us the name of the company or companies. I think it's just one.
Mm-hmm.
With 7 SIC codes. Okay. Using your Python or JavaScript or Java prowess.
Awesome.
Awesome. How do I make this?
Yeah.
Oh, that's why it's good.
Beautiful.
And we'll see if I'm afraid it's not very famous, but it would be interesting. It's just some analyst got overeager to classify their company. You know, it's like, oh yes, we do this and we do this and we do this and we do this and we do that as well. I can almost picture the intern in front of myself who was tasked with filling out the form.
And we had a cake sale last Christmas, so we are basically also
Big
in the pastry industry. Anyway.
Okay, so back to this. Let's and then now let's do the descriptive statistics visually. And this is so cool that we can just
plot it as a histogram. And now let's first try the standard way, how pandas would do that. And we see this looks a bit funny.
So what you see here is there's a hole here, then there's a hole here. And it kind of, the numbers, you see the numbers 0, 1, 2, 2, and 3, they kind of, the histograms don't, it's not between 0 and 1, it's like between 0 and, I don't know, 0.7, and then 1.4, and then 2.1. And there is no company that has between 2.1 and 2.8 SIG codes because they can only have integer number of SIG codes. So it's just the artificiality of this histogram that kind of, this histogram doesn't realize that we're thinking in integers.
Mm-hmm. And so I think you all have encountered histograms before.
If you have, just type in H, please.
Just an H, exactly.
Yeah, okay. So we just need to fix basically the...
But by default, so you know that a histograms means the whole range of data is partitioned into so-called bins. And then it's shown as, and then pandas plots the number of entries in each bin. And by default, the number of bins is 10. This is just the preset in pandas. So if we tell it plot us a histogram with 10 bins,
we'll get the same.
We should get the same. Yeah, it looks pretty similar.
Yeah.
But in this case, it doesn't make sense because in this case, the smallest value is 0, the biggest is 7. So if the bin width will be 7 minus 0, so 7 divided by 10, so 0.7. So we will get one bin from 0 to 0.7, which contains all the zeros. We will get one from 0.7 to 1.4, which contains the ones. We will get one from 1.4 to 2.1, which contains the twos. But then we get this empty one here from 2.1 to 2.8 because there's no integer that falls in there.
So ladies, what should we put in for number of bins to get the correct bin size, basically integers? Please type in. What's the correct number for bins in order for us to get this histogram to classify correctly? Feel free to type in. 10. Well, this is 10. So 10.
This gave us this result.
Not bad. So how many values do we have? We have, basically we have values from 0 to 7. So that's 8. Plus the zeros, Daniela, very good. 1, not sure. Okay, that's good. I like that. So we have 8 values. We have 0. Well, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then we had that not a number which were counted as 0. So we have 8 of them, not 10. Let's try that. Yeah. So now it looks.
It looks better, but it still looks a bit funny. Why is that? Well, we see we need 8. We need 8 bins since we have 8 different possible values. However, by default it will create the bin edges so that so that it will divide 7 by 8, so we will get something fractional, 7/8, and every bin would be 7/8 wide. So this is why the 0 will here fall in here, the 1 fall in here, a little bit
less than 1, and so
the 2 fall in here. So that's more. It's more like a visual problem. So we'll get the correct results, but it will look quite strange since the bin width is a bit less than 1. Ideally, if you want to do it really nice, we tell it directly what the edges are. So for that, we can do plot hist bins equal, and we have to give it one more one more, and here we have to give it one more number than we want to have the bins, because we want to start with the leftmost edge. Then we want to have the leftmost edge of the first bin, then the leftmost edge of the second bin, the leftmost edge of the third bin, and so on. The leftmost edge of the last bin, and then the right edge of the last bin. So one more than the number of bins we want to have. So we want to list range, not rank.
Rank.
So range 9 is a way how Python describes the numbers from 0 to 8, including always one. You have to always give one more.
Plus this right-hand number, which is the 9th one. So if we had just one bin, you would need 2 descriptors, left and right.
Mm-hmm.
If we have 2 bins, you need 1, 2, 3. If you have 3 bins, you need 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. You always need n plus 1. So this is something for yourself to play along with.
You probably discussed range in the
Yes.
summary of code, right? So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay.
And to show that actually we have something in each bin. So it looks like the 2 on the right are empty, but this is just because we have a linear scale and there are just very, very few who have 6 or 7. But if we now specify log equal true,
Oh, nice.
we can plot the frequency on a logarithmic scale. I think we discussed this also last week.
Yeah, so we're going to zoom in and see. Let's see here.
So we see they are all full. The one on the right, the set with 7, I think, has only a single one. The one with 6 has 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, and we see, and now we can see quite
few
nicely
tens.
that and we see nicely that the bin edges align 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 2 to 3 to 4, and so on.
Great. Any questions? Or if you're satisfied with this histogram massage, then please give us a little thumbs up. We don't have to specify the log. Deborah? It is the y-axis. Okay, so
Yes.
this, correct, this log equals true gives you a 10 base logarithm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if there's an easy way to do it for the x-axis as well.
Yeah, it does it for the y-axis, correct. Good question. Great. Alwanda says thumbs up.
Awesome.
Okay. All right, then,
Oh, can I give a little hint for the homework, or would this be cheating?
I think it would be a little cheating. How about we give the hints on if they request it, like try it yourself, and then
Okay.
maybe on Friday we can give a little, a little hint.
Okay.
We have 5 more minutes,
All right.
so I think I'm very happy to. Where is a good natural place to stop?
I think we can wrap it up for today, because afterwards we will talk about a few more advanced things, how we can transform columns in pandas.
Cool. In the meantime, I just found the link for you.
Also, we want to allow, can I just show one more thing, and then we can have a little Q&A maybe for the
Yeah.
last 5 minutes?
Yep.
So we have this, since we have this new data set, we can also do, which shows for each row the number of different SIG codes. You can also do things like, what is the percentage of companies that have at most 2 SIG codes, for instance? For that, we would write nsig smaller equals 2, which is something which gives true or false, depending on whether the company has 2 or fewer or more than 3 SIG codes. And then if we compute the mean of that, we get 0.889. So this means 89.6% of all companies have 2 secrets of here.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do this. And the ones that have more than 3 is accordingly 10.4%. Sorry.
3 or equals 3 or more.
Oh yes, actually, this doesn't sum up to.
No, equals 3 because you did equal 2 or less, so 3 or more.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
exactly, 10.4.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
Right.
Exactly. So this all sums up. Okay,
This
so
is a little trick for you. All right, I think I'm going to
do a quick Q&A or
let's do a quick Q&A. Yes, unmute yourselves. Let's quickly go around. I would love to hear, please unmute yourself. If you had the chance to play with any of the Datathon or the previous week's content, please let me know. Otherwise, you can just say not yet. Deborah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh, yes.
Sorry, I'm a bit sick, so but
get better.
no, sorry.
Get better.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much. Yeah, just yesterday I was able to watch the 5th day of the video of day 5, and that was interesting. For the Datathon, no, I haven't yet, but we have a meeting this week. So I'm in a team with Mara, Jesse, and Cindy, I think. We're gonna do the Latin American region.
Awesome.
Oh, fantastic.
That's fantastic.
That's
Wow.
wonderful.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a brainstorming meeting on Wednesday. So.
And feel free to bring your questions to these Q&As. I mean, we should actually be a little disciplined and probably stop at 45 past and just give you a chance to either ask or show what you're working on so we can give you direction. So that's the live session. Great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Although you're working very hard behind the scenes to make all of this possible.
So I haven't had a chance to go to the Datathon, but I enjoy the lessons, and I hope I will submit at least one homework.
Sure. Daniela, you can type if you're at work, or if you can talk. Feel free to unmute yourself. Please unmute yourselves to Mara, Elwanda, and Kat. You're next. Mara, yes, I'm so sorry. I think I kicked you out because I was trying to remove the gentleman from the call, and I think I clicked you first. I'm sorry. Next time. Daniela revisited the lessons from last week's day 1 and 4. Excellent.
Wonderful.
Well, Daniela is very advanced. So if you have suggestions for that, please do. I have a silly question regarding homework submissions. Yes, please. Mara, feel free to unmute yourself. I can unmute you. There you go.
Okay, just 5 minutes because I'm in the office. So basically, I submitted. Hi, long time no talking to you. I submitted one image for the first homework of day 1, and I thought the website would allow me to submit the second one, and then I couldn't delete the first one that I submitted. So it's just like
I heard this one. It's a little tricky. I was just working so hard on to fix the logins that I didn't really. This was kind of the submissions was a small thing. We'll take a look. My understanding is, yes, once you upload something, I don't think you can edit your submission. That's correct, because it counts as an assignment. So I think that's correct. What I'm a little surprised is that it didn't allow multiple attachments, because the way I had configured it is to allow up to 5 attachments. And for some reason that's not working. So I'll see what I can do to fix that. This way, if you submitted it earlier and then you come back, it's like, let's say day 5, you can just upload 5 images and it's fine. I will accept. It's not it's whatever the system just allows us to handle the grading we'll accept. Okay, good question. Elwanda, this is the first session I've been able to attend and watch. Awesome. Do you have access to the replays? Feel free to unmute. This is live. There you go.
Yes, I do have access to the YouTube videos and I guess the Facebook page.
Okay, great. I wonder, are you're a DIYer?
I'm not sure. I have gold status for the summer code.
You had, then you have gold status. Then in the website, please, in the gold channel in Discord, make sure you go in because we have the course website. So if I quickly share my screen, you have access to a bit more, I mean, a lot more than the DIYers.
Yes, I do have access to Discord. So
great. So inside the page, if you go to, like last week, explorer data analysis, for example, this kind of thing the DIYers don't have. So I have sessions for you, an overview and days 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, class replay, a little bit of description. There is a GitHub Classroom for submitting if you want to submit code. And then getting what you see on the screen here. So I push it up and I share it only with yourselves. So you can get it from here. This is under Export to Data Analysis. Okay, awesome.
Okay.
Great, well, it's so good to have you. And Kat, last but not least.
Hi, good morning. This is my second class attending. So I have a lot to catch up, but I was following a little bit on Discord that, things needed to be resolved on the technical end for login. So I just figured I'm going to wait for that to be resolved so that, then I can catch up, because just reading through the threads just kind of overwhelmed me a little bit with everybody having their issues. And so I'm like, oh,
yeah.
okay.
It actually fried our servers, to be honest. It took me 6 days of nonstop work to migrate us to another host and fix everything. And I don't think everything is completely fixed, but I tested with VIP and gold members and DIYers, and I was able to get one of each working. So I know the systems are running. Again, if there's a little change, which is in order to sync you across all systems, the Kartra, the payment system, this one, WordPress, and the email system, I had to use your email addresses as your logins. So when you're logging in, if you go to, well, I'm logged in right now, so it will just complain. It says 1milliontech.com/login. It's a little better than the login button. It will, oh, awesome. Sorry, I see a new course here. Thank you. So on this login page, you will see if you use your email address as your username, then the same one that is attached to your gold membership, then it will land you in here, and under the courses, you'll see the gold courses. Yeah.
Okay, and Summer of Code stuff, if I need a
the Summer of Code stuff, we're migrating slowly. It's the 3.5 of us, because Anita has 4 children. So it's really 3.5 of us. We're slowly migrating over. So that stays in Kartra. You keep access to that. And then my hope is that slowly we can move all the Summer of Code content over to this site as well.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I may need to look back at some of the Summer of Code things just as reference or cross-reference.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And feel free to bring your questions. I mean, this live session, you can bring Summer of Code questions too. It's for yourselves to ask whatever you're working on, really. That's the benefit of the live session. We are pushing, we are giving you new content that is relevant to, well, Winter of Data, but feel free to bring questions regarding whatever you're working on. And if we know, we will answer.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's it from us. See you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Great job.